Good evening, friends. Welcome back to the Rude Dog channel. I'm your host, Rudy. But I was thinking about songwriting, and I remember back in the early to mid 80s when I was in my early 20s and starting to adolescence. I don't think anyone can really think, not young men anyway. There's just too much confusion going on. But I started getting interested in music thanks to the patience of a couple of good friends, David Goldstein and Daniel Labonte, who patiently walked me through the E, A, and B chords. I learned to pick up a little bit of guitar and have kept at it on and off since then. And so naturally I got more interested in songwriting and how these guys do this stuff. It's quite something. I've always been an enormous Stones fan, and Keith Richards especially. People who think Keith Richards is some drug-addled fool know nothing of the man. I suggest that you look into him a little more, a little deeper than the heroin-addled image he portrayed for a while in the 70s and 80s, because he's actually a thoughtful, intelligent, gentle, articulate man. And find out for yourself. But the point is that he and Mick had an incredible songwriting thing going on between them. It's pretty clear in retrospect, looking back at 50 years of their music, that Mick was kind of the head, the intellect, and Keith was the guts and the balls, or whatever you want to call it. But that overlapped a lot. Lyrics would come from one and then the other. They were smart about it. They called all their compositions written by Jagger and Richards and split it right down the middle. Another interesting thing I learned out the other day, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top wrote all those fabulous songs for ZZ Top, and he credited Gibbons, Hill, Beard, Dusty Hill, Frank Beard, his drummer and bass player. So all three of them, when Eliminator blew up, got wildly rich. And just way to go, Reverend Billy Gibbons. Nice thinking. So Mick and Keith, yeah, there's songs like that Keith completely came up with the lyrics for, like Gimme Shelter. In his relatively recent autobiography, he talks about writing that song on a stormy day in London. And you can just kind of tell a Keith song from a Mick song after a while. But for their fertile period between 68 and 72, they just could really do no wrong. The albums were Let It Bleed, Beggar's Banquet, and the double album Exile on Main Street, all of which are just fantastic from start to finish. There's not a bad move on those. And they're not real tight. They're certainly not in the same league as like Steely Dan, but a little bit of slop is necessary for good blues and country music. And that's what they were emulating, is black American blues and country music. And by country, I mean blues, early blues that came from the country. Okay, here's one for you. There's this old movie theater downtown, and this young usher is ready to start his shift. And he's walking up the aisle in the theater, and he notices this guy he's sprawled out, lying across 3 or 4 seats, and theater's filling up fast. They need the room. So he goes over to the guy and he says, all right, buddy, you're going to have to, sit up straight and just take up one seat. We're filling up here. And the guy goes, ah. So the kid says, well, he goes and gets his manager, and the manager comes down and says, all right, buddy, we're going to have to ask you to sit up, or you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to sit up in one seat. The place is filling up. We need all the seats we have. Come on, buddy, sit up. The guy goes, ah. So the manager says, well, I guess I'll call the police. And he does so. And pretty soon a couple of uniforms show up. And they walk up to the guy, and one of them says, all right, pal, you know what's going on here. Where you from? And the guy says, balcony.